The waves that evening were a raw, churning beast, spitting foam onto the sand. Most sensible people had already retreated. But Daniel Carter sat unmoving, a quiet anchor against all that chaos. His 6-year-old, Noah, built castles with such fervent concentration, his laughter rising, fragile, bright. A delicate counterpoint to the ocean's roar. Daniel watched him, the ever-present weight in his chest. For just a moment, eased. 3 years since his wife had gone, he had learned to wear exhaustion like a second skin, to carry responsibility in every aching muscle. 2 jobs, a cramped apartment, sunrise school lunches, these stolen moments by the sea. They were Noah's normalcy, and Daniel's fragile peace, the ocean, his silent confessor, was about to shatter that peace and rebuild it anew. "Daddy!" Noah's voice snapped tight, pointing. Daniel followed his gaze. A dark shape wrestled with the waves, too purposeful for debris. Then, an arm, pale against the churning gray, broke the surface. Before vanishing again, fear, cold and sharp, lancet through him. Lifeguard stand empty, sun bleeding across the sky, most people gone. A faint, broken cough reached him. "Stay here," he commanded it. Already shedding his shoes, Noah clutched his arm, small fingers digging in. "Daddy, don't go." Daniel knelt, gripping Noah's shoulders, voice strained. "I'll be right back. Watch me. Don't move." He didn't wait for a reply. He turned and ran. The water was a shock, stealing his breath, pulling at his legs with hungry tendrils. He swam, every stroke a desperate prayer against the current, until he reached her, unconscious or so close to it. Her hair, a dark cloud of seaweed and ocean, fanned around a face starkly pale. He hooked an arm around her, lifting her head as a wave crashed, sucking them both under. "You're okay," he rasped, though he wasn't sure. "I've got you." The swim back felt like an eternity, lungs screaming, arms burning, the taste of salt water mixing with panic. The image of Noah, alone on the shore, ignited something feral inside him. He kicked, fought, until the blessed scrape of sand beneath his knees brought a gasping collapse. He dragged her clear of the surf, rolled her onto her side, coughing violently himself. She sputtered. Then a ragged cough tore from her throat, spewing water. Relief, hot and shaky, flooded through him. "That's it," he murmured, brushing wet hair from her face. "Breathe." Noah stumbled toward them, tears streaming. Daniel pulled him close, one arm a steel band around his son. "I'm okay, buddy. She's okay, too." The woman's eyes fluttered open, a startling gray, sharp even through the haze of exhaustion. She tried to speak, but another cough racked her. He supported her, oblivious to the empires she commanded, the boardrooms where her face was known. To him, she was just a woman, near drowned, in need of help. Paramedics arrived, wrapping her in thermal blankets, praising Daniel's heroism. He shrugged it off, embarrassed. Anyone would have done the same. But they both knew it wasn't true. As the ambulance doors closed, her fingers brushed his wrist. A light, searing touch. "You saved me," she whispered, voice raw, rasping, yet certain. Daniel met her gaze. A deep, unfamiliar jolt passed between them. He simply nodded, Glad you're okay. Days bled into weeks. Life resumed its relentless rhythm. He assumed that was the end of it. A fleeting, dangerous memory. People like her didn't circle back to lives like his. Then, an afternoon knock, standing in his narrow doorway, she was transformed. Hair sleek, clothes elegant. A quiet authority clinging to her like a second skin. Yet those striking gray eyes, they held the same vulnerability, the same unspoken gratitude. "Hi," she said, voice soft, yet resonating with intention. "I've been trying to find you. My name is Elena." Daniel stood awkwardly, hand braced on the doorframe. The hallway suddenly too small for her presence. Noah, a shadow behind his leg, peered out, wide-eyed. Elena crouched, movements fluid, unhesitating. "You must be Noah," she said, a warm smile touching her lips. "Your dad is very brave." Noah puffed up, declaring, "He saved you from the ocean." Elena nodded, a subtle tension easing from her shoulders. "Yeah, he did." She spoke of rip currents, of underestimating the sea. Then, she held out a small envelope. Daniel didn't take it. "You don't have to do that," he said, voice firm, leaving no room for argument. "I didn't save you for money." Elena paused, hand hovering. A flicker of surprise, then intrigue. Crossing her face, slowly, she lowered the envelope. "Then maybe," she offered, gaze steady, "you'll let me thank you with dinner." Daniel hesitated. His life was a patchwork of work and fatherhood. Not dinners with elegant strangers, but her honesty. The quiet strength in her posture made refusing harder than accepting. "All right," he conceded, the word feeling both small and momentous. That one dinner unfolded into conversation, then laughter. Elena listened, truly listened, as Daniel spoke of Noah, of loss, of the crushing exhaustion and fierce joy of single parenthood. There was no pity in her eyes, only quiet understanding. When she spoke of herself, her words were guarded. Hints of travel, of business. Daniel didn't press. He cared that she laughed at Noah's clumsy jokes, offered to help with dishes, and looked at him like he was seen, truly seen. For the first time in years, weeks spiraled into a quiet routine. Elena became a presence, bringing groceries, books for Noah, or simply sitting beside him on the worn couch after Noah slept, filling the silence with a comfortable weight. He noticed the deference in others' voices when they called her, the expensive cars that occasionally waited outside. Unbidden, he never asked. He didn't need to. What he didn't know was that Elena Voss was a self-made billionaire, CEO of a global tech empire, a woman accustomed to control, to others wanting something from her. Daniel, impossibly, wanted nothing. The truth found them at a science fair. Elena, at Noah's insistence, had joined them all. As they approached the venue, a ripple of whispers preceded them. Security guards straightened, phones flashed. "Is that?" a voice murmured. Elena froze. Daniel, confused, turned to her as a man in a tailored suit materialized, voice tight. "Miss Voss, we weren't informed." Elena raised a hand, a silent command. Daniel stared, the name echoing. "Miss Voss." Elena exhaled slowly, meeting his eyes. "I should have told you," she said, voice barely a whisper. I'm a billionaire. I run Voss International. The ground shifted. Daniel recoiled, a raw ache blooming in his chest. So all this time, he shook his head, hurt and confusion warring in his eyes. You lied? Elena's voice trembled. I didn't lie about who I am. When it mattered, I just wanted to be a person, not a title. But the chasm had opened, wider than any ocean. He turned and walked away, leaving her standing alone amidst curious glances, more powerless than she'd felt in years. Days passed, silent and heavy. Then, a knock at her penthouse door. Late one night, Daniel stood there, Noah asleep in his arms, small head nestled against his father's shoulder. He asked for you, Daniel said, voice rough with exhaustion. And something else, something softer. Elena's eyes welled, hot and stinging. I don't care about your money, Daniel continued, gaze unwavering. I care that you were there for my son, that you cared about him. If you can promise me that none of this, he gestured vaguely at the opulent surroundings, will ever come before him, then we're okay. Elena nodded, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. I promise, she whispered, conviction thrumming through her. I'd give it all up before I lose you. Years later, headlines would erupt when Elena Voss married a single dad who worked 2 jobs and owned no suits worth mentioning. People would call him lucky. They would be wrong. Elena knew the truth. She fell in love the moment Daniel ran into the sea, without knowing who she was, without expecting anything in return. He didn't save a billionaire. He saved a woman, and that, she knew, was everything's.